Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the video. I picked up a version 2 Kraton 4S. Now, if you remember a while ago, I did have the Outcast 4S. It was an amazing truck. I got it sent to me directly from Arrma and it was kind of like an early release. But the funny thing was, at that time, I had put in for a Kraton and another YouTuber had put in for the Outcast. Because our names are similar, he ended up with the Kraton, I ended up with the Outcast. Now, the Outcast was an absolutely, and is guys, an amazing truck, but I still always wanted the Kraton. So when I had the opportunity to sell my Outcast, I did. I took that money, I set it aside, waiting for the perfect used Kraton to come along, and it finally did. Now, this is not any old 4S Kraton version 2. This truck belonged to Kevin from KCRC, so this truck has his mod parts on it, the braces, the tower brace, all that kind of fun stuff. So what we're going to do is, instead of an unboxing video, this is going to be kind of more of an unveiling video. So I will go over some of the basic specs of the 4S Kraton version 2, but more so guys, I'm going to show you all the KCRC parts that are on the truck, as well as talk about, I think I can bring it up, it's over here somewhere, right there, some of my plans for this truck. And I'm not going to be doing guys some insane build. I'm not trying to look to build some crazy 6S 4S Kraton or anything like that. What I hope to do is to build a fast 4S Kraton. So in a sense, it'll be kind of a little bit overpowered in the ESC, have that Castle 2400 kV motor over there in it, work on the gearing, cooling, and all that kind of fun stuff, but keep the truck kind of true to its roots, keep it true to that 4S, but make it very, very quick. And to be fair, guys, this truck is already quick. So the Outcast 4S was an absolute blast, but I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Well, I don't want to say a little bit. I'm going to turn it up a little bit more than a little bit, but we're going to have some fun. But anyways, guys, let's get the truck back down onto the bench. All right, before we get the body off, guys, I just had to take one more look at this thing. I've already got my Gen Z stickers on there, and man, does this thing look good. And you know, one thing I noticed, guys, having this truck in front of me now is that the front of the truck, so the teal blue, as I always kind of noticed it as and always thought it was, is actually almost kind of more of a green. If teal green is a color, that's what I would say it is. Because when I look through the phone, it looks like a teal lightish kind of shade of blue. But in person, it definitely has a lot more green going on. Either way, what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to get that body off and we're going to go through some of the stock specs of the truck. So you got to kind of ignore, obviously, guys, these fans and the big brace and all that kind of fun stuff, because those are not included with a stock Kraton 4S. What is included, though, is the ESC and motor that are on here right now. You have a Spectrum Firma 120. This is good for anywhere from 2 to 4S. I don't know why you'd ever run it on 2S. 3S isn't bad. 4S obviously is where it wants to be. It's paired to a Spectrum 3668 2400 kV motor. This is a terrific setup, and I want to emphasize that because even though I have talked about the Castle motor I have and the Max 8, all that kind of stuff, when I ran my Outcast, which was stock, it did, guys, a great job. It was powered perfectly, in my opinion. Great for doing backflips, great for control, great for heat, all that kind of fun stuff. Now, having these fans already installed, I may play with the gearing a little bit on this truck. I really haven't looked into it all that much. I think I did go up on my Outcast just a little bit, but I'll see what I can do. I'll see what's available. The KCRC motor mount that's in here now does allow for a little bit of play, so we can kind of move the motor in and out a little bit. But either way, guys, you will see a few videos with this setup first. We'll run it the way it is now, the stock setup with these fans. Again, complete overkill for this truck, but at some point, guys, we will be putting them to good use. You have the servo, which is kind of the Achilles heel of the version 2 trucks. It's an S652. It is 232 ounces of torque. It does work. It will turn the tires. However, it is a little bit slow. Now, it's not Traxxas slow of a servo. It's not a complete garbage servo. However, it's not great. And even though with the Outcast, I did at times kind of say, hey, you know what, it does work. Don't be so hard on it. The truth is that, yes, it doesn't take long before you start to realize that the servo is slow. It is a little bit sluggish. So that will be getting upgraded, guys, fairly soon. As soon as I probably start pulling the electronics, putting in my Max 8 and that Castle 2400, I'll probably be switching this servo out. The one thing you don't have to switch though is under here, you do have an SR315 Spectrum receiver. Now, this truck actually, guys, came from Kevin at KCRC with the DX3. So this is kind of the upgraded Spectrum transmitter. This is not the one that's included in the truck. I'm trying to remember the one, SL23, oh, something like that is the one that's included. A lot of people will upgrade to this radio just because you can actually add the module. And if you want to run your phone and your telemetry and all that kind of fun stuff, you can. But overall, guys, that's it for the stock electronics. They work. To be really fair, guys, everything I would say from like here up is good. You don't have to worry about. As for the servo, yeah, you'll be a few runs into the truck before you kind of go, you know what, I think I want to put something better in. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything crazy expensive, but the S652 oddly works really good in some trucks, not in other ones. And I don't know if it's just the whole steering assemblies that kind of change it, because I've seen this servo in even bigger, heavier trucks work really, really well. But yet for some reason, guys, in this truck, it is a little bit slow. But either way, guys, at some point, we will be swapping out this servo and putting in something else. Now that we got all that out of the way, guys, I'm going to take a couple of moments and just go over some of the KCRC parts. In future videos, we will be spending more time on them. I'm going to probably be dedicating a whole video to installing the fans and the mounts and the heat sinks and all that stuff. KCRC has a lot of parts to work with, many different size motors, fans, batteries, so your voltages and how you want to power your fans and all that kind of fun stuff. And it is fairly easy. You just got to know what's going on. This setup right now, guys, is obviously a twin fan setup because it all runs off of one connector. So this one connector right here, which is a 4S connector, runs both fans. So it's kind of a neat setup. You don't have to worry about trying to get into the receiver and having lower voltages or anything like that. You can run it right off your battery. Now, the only issue, guys, I came across, and it's kind of a bummer, that when I was planning my batteries, I was going to use one of these guys right here. So this is the Gens Ace 4S pack. And the way it works is your balance port is right there. There's a little cable that plugs into there, and then that's what will plug into your charger. But unfortunately, this battery sits down in here like this. This is covered up by the brace, so I can't have anything in there. So I actually at one point thought, oh, hey, I'll mount it upside down. But then again, that's where my leads go. So I could put it in, have, let's say, like kind of a block, elevate it up a little bit, but I don't want any kind of chance of, let's say, this thing bouncing, guys, off of here and ruining the battery or the port or whatever. So I am going to be looking at probably a different battery because I want to retain, guys, using this setup. I could use a separate 4S batteries. I do have a few smaller 4S batteries. They're not small enough, let's say, to fit in here, and I don't really want to kind of bring them up tall or anything like that. So what I have right now is my 7500. You can see the balance port comes off the top. That'll work, but that 7500 is a pretty big and heavy battery for this truck, and it's kind of going against what I want to do with it. So I'm probably going to look into something more, a little bit smaller, but again, with just your kind of normal balance plug that's already attached. You're not putting in a separate cable or anything like that. All right, a few other parts I want to mention is the motor mount down there, the tower to tower brace, as well as, guys, underneath you've got the chassis skid. Now all these parts, guys, are 70-75, and now that I'm kind of showing them on the camera and on the video and all that kind of stuff, I do want to bring up a point. So I often will bring up the fact that I think having a little bit of flex, a little bit of chassis flex, all that kind of stuff is a good thing. It helps absorb, it helps keep everything good to go. However, when it comes to this line of trucks, the 4S lineup from Arrma, it won't take you long to see where people have split this chassis right in half. I don't mean like a crack or a breakage. I mean full on in half. And it's why I think that having a solid setup is better than allowing a little bit of flex, because personally, guys, I don't think the plastic really flexes on this truck. I think it just snaps. So having the tower to tower brace, it replaces that stock red aluminum one that has kind of like, it's not a shock absorber, but it sort of acts like one right here. I think having this brace, guys, is a huge benefit, as well as, guys, underneath having the skid plate or having this chassis skid. The way I hope this is going to work, and I did, guys, I was checking it over, and it seems to be very, very solid against the chassis, is that when you first land in that first impact, I'm hoping that it will get absorbed kind of through this skid. So it'll kind of take that first kind of impact, but also it does seem to be, guys, very snug against the chassis. So I'm hoping that there's not any kind of like vibration there or anything like that, so that it's kind of more of, instead of kind of the impact right here on the plastic, and that impact, guys, like, you know, right now, if I was to take, let's say like a hammer or something like a ball peen hammer, and I hammered here, I'm probably going to put a hole through the chassis. Where if I was to hammer this, let's say with a hammer, it's going to hit, but it's going to kind of absorb through this whole plate. Again, I don't know for sure, guys. That's just how I'm kind of viewing it and how I'm hoping it's going to work. We won't know until we start sending the truck and seeing how everything works. But from what I can tell, guys, and from just knowing how things work, I'm hoping that my chassis will stay in one piece, or at least in one piece for a while. Now, the big news, guys, I kind of mentioned earlier on in this video that there was something I wanted to share with you guys. And to me, guys, it's pretty cool because he hasn't done this much in the past. I don't even know if he's even done it before. But starting now, guys, at KCRC, if you enter JPRC10 when you're checking out, you will receive 10% off your order. So you just got to enter it in the discount box. You are going to receive 10% off everything on the KCRC website. Now, I brought out, guys, some of the parts. You've seen the shock towers on the Typhon. You've seen all the parts I've done on the sledge. These guys are some of the more tools and stuff that he has. So this is a 17mm wheel wrench. I've got it in blue as well as red. You can see these screws, guys, right here. What's kind of neat is if you want more like a T-handle, you can back those screws off, move it down in here, and have the socket sort of sitting in the center. Or you can move it all the way out to the end and have something with just a little bit more leverage on it. I have got my camber tool gauge here. A lot of these parts here, guys, are for the fans and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the little top plate. Got it in blue, red, purple. There's a raw one here. I think I got a carbon fiber one over here. Turnbuckle wrench. These are some of the different mounts for the fans. So depending on the size of the motor, you've obviously got to choose the right clamp, or else you're going to either have it too big or too small. Again, guys, everything here now, 10% off. But one thing, guys, I think you're really going to like is that this even works with the ramps. So again, when I said everything on the website, I meant everything on the website. It is the first time ever. Kevin was telling me he has never had a discount or a sale on his ramps. They are expensive to manufacture. So he's always said that it's something that he's just not going to have. But this is the first time ever. So now when you're on the website, you're adding that ramp, you're adding tools, you are going to get 10% off. So again, guys, huge thanks to Kevin at KCRC for providing me that, because that means now you guys get that also. And you know what? Saving a little money is always an awesome freaking thing. All right, guys, there you have it. The Arrma Kraton 4S version 2. Now, I could have gone into a lot more details, guys, on the whole truck, the metal drivetrain, all that kind of stuff. But you can watch many videos on that. Even myself, guys, I've got a link at the end of this video to my Arrma Outcast 4S version 2 unboxing that goes into a lot of detail, as well as, guys, like I mentioned, there's a lot of videos on these trucks out there. This was an unveiling, not so much, guys, an unboxing. And I will be doing, guys, a lot of content on this truck. And as well, I should mention, guys, that at the time that I bought this truck, it had nothing to do with the Mojave 4S coming out. So it was kind of funny. I bought this truck, and I swear it was like the next day I saw the video on the Mojave 4S, and I was like, ah, dang, I want that thing too. So yes, I am going to be getting, guys, the Mojave 4S. That thing looks incredible as well. I like some of the improvements even over this truck they made with the Mojave 4S. So yeah, that'll be coming, guys, to the channel also. But anyways, guys, stay tuned, because like I've mentioned multiple times, there's going to be a lot of footage on this truck. We've got some great mods, some great upgrades coming, and we're definitely, guys, going to have it out. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can see because of the way I've got the blind, but we went from having like a week of beautiful 25 degrees Celsius weather to rain. So unfortunately, this truck showed up a day too late to really get out and enjoy it. We've now had about 2 days of rain solid, and it looks like the whole weekend is going to be rain. So I don't know, guys. I'm going to get this truck out at some point. I did have the battery on charge because at one point today the sky was getting blue, but it's now gone back to gray. So again, guys, I don't know when I'm going to get this thing out. I'm excited to drive it, but I'm not excited to stand in the rain. So on that note, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. Please subscribe.